Lums reminds me a little bit architecturally of JNU, a little bit of IIT, but it has a very distinctive ethos. It's much cleaner, much quieter, a great deal calmer, and there are very few posters, there's much less graffiti. So it's kind of familiar and yet very different, but it's wonderful to be here. It's my first trip to Pakistan, and that also is just an amazing thing. I've been longing to visit this country forever, and there were a number of conferences that were cancelled for reasons of stuff happening in India-Pakistan relations. 1 year nuclear bomb testing, 1 year something else happened. And so this year, finally, I was able to come, and to cross via Wagah was also just the most amazing experience, because I spent the better part of my life studying the partition, but actually to cross that border made it become real for me in a way that perhaps I hadn't really understood before. I mean, you kind of go down that road and you imagine the refugee caravans coming down that road, you imagine the violence and surroundings. Everything is the same in landscape terms, in terms of the houses, the green revolution on both sides you can see, and yet there are these subtle differences, and then there's this no man's land, and there's this farcical Kafkaesque crossing that you have to do. So it's just been amazing and brilliantly stimulating. It is absolutely true that for historical reasons, I don't think it was deliberate that the Centre of South Asian Studies intellectual focus, the focus of the research seminar, the focus of the library collections, and so on, was on India. And that had to do a lot with the way in which the subject developed, the people who were appointed, students' research interests, who came to Cambridge, and so on. But now we are trying very actively, the Committee of Management of the Centre is trying very actively to redress that balance, so that we are covering not only India, but also very importantly Pakistan and other countries of South Asia, including Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Burma, Bhutan, Nepal, Afghanistan. So sort of trying to make it more genuinely a centre of South Asian studies rather than a centre of Indian studies, which is what, or really a centre of Indian history, which it was for some years of its history. So one way of addressing that problem has been to change the character of the research seminar, where we consciously make a decision to invite scholars who work on Pakistan, or who work on Burma, on Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, or who work on regions other than India proper. And another way of doing it has been through the MPhil in South Asian Studies, where the core course of the MPhil is not merely teaching India, it's teaching subjects in a very, it's taught thematically, and so perspectives are brought in from all these different regions. And we're already, I believe, seeing the effect. This year in our MPhil, we've got some absolutely stellar Pakistani students, and we're continuing to see more and more interest from Pakistani students. And this year we have a marvelous student from Pakistan, absolutely outstanding, who is doing the remarkable thing of studying Bangladesh at the Centre of South Asian Studies. And I think the centre enables that kind of research project to flourish and thrive. Lums can play a huge role, partly by stimulating, I guess, an appetite for arts and humanities and social science research, which is obviously not necessarily the easiest of things in the context of South Asian educational systems, the cost of education, and therefore parental pressures on young people, perhaps to study more lucrative subjects. So there is something that can and has to and needs to be done in South Asia itself to keep these subjects alive, and to keep the interests alive, and to have very dynamic and grow very dynamic courses, which I believe you're doing at present, and to actually build on the foundations that you actually have. I believe that the project of inviting scholars from all over the world to come and speak to students so that they can see what can be achieved through these disciplines.